A unique look at the women's 5,000. This is a quad. There will be 4 skaters that will go in this set, 2 pairs. Danielle Barrett. Danielle Barrett is a Minnesotan, a tremendous inline skater and a cyclist. Now on the long track, and Darian O'Neill, who's a 3-time member of the U.S. inline team from Michigan. They will be in the first pair. And how long will they let this pair go before the next one goes?
They'll get them off right away here. They're gonna, so that the pair who just started will only have about a half-lap lead here. They want to keep them as far apart as they possibly can. As soon as we introduce them, I'll get to the reasons for this.
All right, Jaclyn Rowe is from Wheaton, Illinois, and Rebecca Dyrud. We've seen both of them in several distances before. Rebecca Dyrud, part of the Dyrud family. Brother will skate later in the men's 10. All right, so the reasons are?
Mostly the reasons here is just to save some time. This is the longest distance for the women. There were more ladies scheduled to skate today. Many have scratched, so there is only 1 quad. The rest of the pairs, three final pairs, will be just 2 skaters on the ice at once. But it really is a time saver. And again, they could have done it easily in the men's 10K, but they have chosen just to do it once here in the ladies 5.
This pair, this quad of 2 pairs of skaters, was original to include Teresa Cliff Ryan, who barely missed qualifying for the team earlier in these trials, but of course she suffered a terrible injury here in a training session Monday. There was no competition, but she was hit from behind by a male skater who had lost an edge on a turn. And Karen Lamano has more on the transpiring and the decision to have Teresa not skate today. Carolyn?
Well, Ted, what Teresa Cliff Ryan's coach, Matt Gorman, told me just a short time ago was that she was still hoping for a chance to compete even into this morning when she was getting a physical evaluation. Like you said, she suffered a slew of injuries on Monday, but was still hopeful that she would get a chance to be out here. Ultimately, Gorman and his team decided that she just wasn't going to be able to be competitive enough to be in the hunt for an Olympic spot, and they just did not want to risk further injury down the line.
The injury she suffered, Teresa was actually emailing some of our researchers here, and did not sound like there was a possibility the way she was talking about headaches and having trouble with light, typical concussion symptoms.
And not a safe thing to go out there, and as Carolyn said, if she's not at her best, why go out there? But it's really unfortunate. She was 3rd place in the 3,000 meters, just missed by 1 spot in less than a second. And so obviously the 1,500 or possibly this race, the 5,000 meters, she had a good chance to qualify for that Olympic team. So definite heartbreak for Teresa Cliff Ryan.
So as we see these 4 skaters, is there any issue for the skaters when there's 4 at a time in terms of concentration or focus? Is there any issue?
The only issue is if you happen to catch the other group ahead of you, and then if we see it in any one of these pairings, you're going to see the skater being caught needs to let the other skater go. So they might have to stand up for a split second, let the skater go by. The only rule, there's never really a rule on drafting unless there are quads, and the only rule there is you are not allowed to draft if it is off the pair that you're not in, the other skaters.
You catch up to the pair in front, you can't draft.
Correct. And the good thing for us as announcers here, Ted, is we will not ever have to worry about this at the Olympics. They will not run quads at the Olympic Games because it is a bit confusing.
Now you saw the coach out there with the time. That was still time he was showing. Is that right?
Correct. Times? He's showing lap times. So we're watching Danielle Barrett here. 36.2 that lap time. Again, this is the same as all the other distance races. Every skater is going to try to skate as consistent laps as they can. Hold on to those lap times as long as possible. As we get to the top skaters, you'll see a little bit faster lap times than these. Right now, 35.4, 35.6 you see on the screen there. Rebecca Dyrud in the blue. She's chasing at the moment. Saw her brother Paul just miss out on the men's 5,000 meters.
We've talked so much during these trials, Dan, about how much you push at the beginning, what you have left at the end. Now we're in the longest individual distance. What's the difference when you skate for a woman to skate the 5? Is it
the women's several years ago, the longest distance for the women was 3,000. They only put the 5,000 in about 1984 or 88, and it is a grueling race. It is 12 and a half laps over 3 miles. And several of the ladies you're going to see here today have skated every other distance in these trials already. So when they finish with the 5,000 meters, it makes for a very tough schedule.
Well, it's interesting because we have skaters, a decent number of them. In fact, this one pairing here, O'Neill and Barrett, don't have a time in the 5,000.
That's right. There's Darren O'Neill that you're looking at right there, Danielle Barrett. Yeah, and so it's not a race that many of them skate very often. They do have to have a time in order to qualify for these trials. But most likely they haven't skated more than 1 or 2 this entire season.
And then out of this distance, 1 skater qualifies for the Olympics, a quota determined previously through international competition.
That's right, and unfortunately the U.S. has not been strong in the 3 or 5,000 meters, so only get 1 spot in Sochi in this distance.
Rebecca Dyrud, this group has a 7:49. That's her personal best. Jaclyn Rowe, 7:54.
Well, I expect both those skaters. Top time at the moment is 8:22. Should not be an issue for either of these skaters you're seeing right here. Jaclyn Rowe in the red, Rebecca Dyrud in the blue.
How consistent? We're seeing lap times here. How consistent do they stay over the distance?
I would say the last 3 or 4 laps, you're going to see some pretty significant fall off in those laps.
That's the wall?
Yes.
All right, the bell.
It's actually a pretty tight pair between Barrett and O'Neill here.
O'Neill catching up. You can see almost 2 seconds on that last lap.
And both well ahead of that top time at the moment. Again, it's 8:22. O'Neill chasing. Got her hands on her legs. We've seen that a few times in these trials. Just trying to get to that finish. It looks like
O'Neill. So this is O'Neill coming across at 7:38. So that's a good effort. Both good efforts there for skaters who don't have times.
It really is. That's an impressive time, 7:38.
And Jaclyn Rowe comes in just under 7:30. Yes. So Jaclyn Rowe posts the top time out of that quad. There are 3 pairs left. 6 skaters remaining. 1 will qualify for the Olympics.
The Winter Olympics are